Welcome on into episode number 87 of season 2025 of the All Aussie Rules Football Podcast. It's the second last episode of season 2025, which is crazy. We're flowing through the year. AFL's done. AFLW is done. And we're just wrapping up the season, I guess. Today's episode is our 2026 way too early AFL predictions. We're going to go through our predictions for what's going to happen in 2026. So that's going to be coming up today's episode over the next half an hour or so. Not sure how long this episode will take. We've got one more episode coming up before the end of the year, which will come out this time next week. We will be doing our final 2025 wrap-up video. So we'll be going through everything that happened this year. Be having a look back at all the clubs, give them a rating, blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. So that will be next week. And then we'll have a couple of weeks off before episode 1 of 2026 comes out early January as we fly towards the next season of AFL. A lot of content to get through early pre-season, January, February, March. So make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button no matter what platform you are on right now. Make sure you hit it. Also, head over to YouTube if you're not already there. Hit the subscribe button there. Plenty of videos will be coming out in the pre-season, including season previews for every single club. So check them out. Go check out all the socials. All Aussie Rules everywhere. We've got Twitter /X, Blue Sky, Instagram. Go check them all out. TikTok as well. Go check that out. Without any further ado, let's jump into this episode. We'll fly through it as quickly as we can. We're going to go through all of our predictions. Is it way too early to be doing predictions? Probably, but we're going to do it anyway. So let's check it out. First of all, Brownlow medal predictions is like this. Are we confident? Not at all. Could be any one of plenty of players. These are the 5 we've narrowed it down to based on who gets votes, who typically polls well, teams that are should be doing well next year. There's plenty of other names as well, but we'll start at the top. Number 1, Errol Gordon. This guy gets votes, and he's very, very good. He was one of our predictions at the start of this season before he got injured. Obviously, then he got injured and missed half the year. I think a full pre-season into a full season of football for Errol Gordon will get him back to the sort of Brownlow numbers he had in 2024. He polls well. He plays really good football. He's very crucial to this team. The obvious issue is Chad Warner takes quite a lot of votes from him. Heaney does to an extent as well, but Chad Warner especially. But I just think that he's an absolute gun and will poll well again this year. So he's number 1 on the list at the moment. Number 2 is our boy Nashaya Wanganeen-Malira. One of the best players in the competition this year. He was absolutely outstanding, certainly his second half of the year. So if he can play at that level for the full season, he is definitely going to be in the conversation for the Brownlow in season 2026, you'd imagine, based on St Kilda's recruits throughout the off-season. And just general development, that they'll probably win some more games of football in 2026 as well, which will help his ability to poll votes, you'd imagine. So I think he's a really, really good shot at getting the Brownlow. Number 3, 2-time runner-up, 3 times top 3 finisher, I think it is now for Nick Dacos, which is crazy, 4 seasons into his career. Highest ever votes per game of any player in the history of the game. He polls regularly very, very well. So I would be very surprised if he plays a full season if he's not in the top 3 to 5 players. Will he ever win one? Who knows? We'll see. But expect another decent season of votes for Nick Dacos, I would imagine. Number 4 is our number 1 player in the competition 2 years in a row in the rating system. Probably one of the most unlucky players in almost AFL history to not have a Brownlow medal. I think he's averaged, I think he's in the top 15 or whatever might even be higher than that for Brownlow votes per game across his career when you consider he's played 200 and something games. He's basically on the same average votes per game as Lachie Neale, who's a two-time winner, and he's above Nat Fyfe, who is also a two-time winner. So, like, it's just crazy to think that he doesn't have one, especially with the level of football he's played over the last couple of years. Granted, 2025, he did miss the first 4 or 5 games, but yeah, he's an absolute gun. And there are plenty of players on that team to take votes off him, which is the big issue. Midfielders, especially Ed Richards, Treloar's there, Tom Liberatore, Joel Frazier, chuck in key forwards like Sam Darcy, and it does make it hard to poll votes in that team, but he's an absolute gun. So I'd be surprised if he doesn't have an absolute dominant season again in 2026. Finn Callaghan polled really well this year. Obviously, him and Tom Green are probably the two that take votes off each other a little bit at GWS, but they're a team that's very consistent in terms of their ladder position over the last couple seasons. I'd imagine they probably will be similar again. They haven't really lost much. They've added Clary Oliver into that midfield mix. Interesting to see how that plays out. But I just think with the trajectory of Finn Callaghan so far, I think he's in for a big season in 2026, and I would be very surprised to not see him in the top 10 in the Brownlow if he gets a full season into him this season. Other players that obviously could be in consideration. Adelaide, you've got a couple players. Obviously, Dawson was the big one last year. Didn't poll as well as perhaps some people thought. We actually had him on top in our Brownlow predictor by 1 vote on Nick Dacos. Obviously, Rankin will be up there. He'll poll votes. Saligo probably with another year of experience into him. But I don't see the winner coming from Adelaide. Brisbane, there's just too many midfielders probably for one of them to win it these days. Obviously, Lachie Neale won it a couple of years ago, but they've just got better and better in that midfield group, and they keep getting stronger. So it would be hard for one of them to win, you'd think, but they are going to win plenty of games. So you're looking at Will Ashcroft, you're looking at Lachie Neale, of course, always. Hugh McCluggage was probably their number 1 midfielder last season. They're probably the main 3 that would have a shot at it, but it will be tough in that midfield. Carlton, Paddy Cripps always polls well. You can never write him off. Collingwood don't have anyone other than Nick Dacos that you could see getting anywhere near enough votes. Essendon, Zach Merritt, but I don't think they'll win enough games. Fremantle, you can't write off either Brayshaw or Caleb Sarong, and don't also forget about Hayden Young. He's one of my favourite players. A full season from him, who knows what could happen. Geelong, you're looking at Bailey Smith, Max Holmes, both a chance. Who else have we got? Gold Coast, obviously Matt Rao, reigning winner of the Brownlow. Can he go back to back? He does poll very, very well, so I wouldn't write it off. Noah Anderson's also in that conversation. But it does get harder with that team this year, with Petrarca joining that midfield as well. GWS, we said Finn Callaghan, Tom Green's probably the other chance. Hawthorn, I don't think anyone does. Jai Newcomb does poll pretty well usually, so he's probably their most likely in terms of who polls well. Will Day obviously is the real unknown if he can get a full season. Melbourne, can't see anyone on that team winning it in 2026. Max Gawn would be the best chance, but at whatever age he is now, you'd say that's going to be a tough one. North Melbourne, you'd think if they can start winning some more games, at some point they are going to start winning some more games. So some of these young midfielders will start polling better votes. Mainly, you'd think Harry Sheasel, if he progresses and the team starts winning, will maybe have a chance of getting some decent-sized votes this season. Port Adelaide, you're looking at Butters as the main chance. Rose, of course, is a slim chance. Horn Francis also polls pretty well, usually. Umpires tend to notice him quite a lot. Richmond, I can't see them winning enough games to be relevant in the Brownlow medal for 2026. St Kilda, we said Wangani Malira. They have plenty of other players that could poll votes. Obviously, the Jacks. They've got plenty of Jacks on their team. But I just think Wanganeen Malira is the one from St Kilda. Sydney, we went through Goulden, Heaney, Chad Warner. West Coast, I can't see them winning enough games. They only won one last year. They would have to win 10 times that to have any chance of having someone up there. But obviously, they've got a really good young nucleus to this team. So over the next couple of years, there's certainly some people that can move into that. And then the Bulldogs, as we said, Bontempelli, number one chance, but then Ed Richards, Tom Liberatore, Joel Frazier, all in that conversation of getting decent votes. So makes it tough for someone from the Bulldogs to win it, especially if they don't play finals again. Our next one is our Coleman medal, and we're gone Riley Thilthorpe. Is that the right call? Probably not. He probably played a little bit too much ruck time. Same can probably be said for Sam Darcy. In 2025, I'd like to see them just full-time, both of them full-time forwards in an ideal world. They can kick goals. I mean, obviously, everyone on this list can. Riley Thilthorpe wasn't that far off it this year. He's an absolute gun. He's still very young. His best is potentially still ahead of him. So he's someone that certainly looks capable of winning a Coleman in his career. Same can be said for Sam Darcy. Rated as our number one key forward in the competition. His contested marking, his ability around the ground obviously does help out in the ruck at times. I just think if he has a full season where he stays fit and healthy, doesn't have a knee injury that cost him 6 weeks like he did in season 2025, he's certainly someone that could get you 70 plus goals in a home and away season. So especially with how high scoring the Bulldogs are, it certainly helps him as well. Jeremy Cameron, obviously this year's Coleman medalist. Geelong will probably win plenty of games again this year in 2026, so he'll have plenty more opportunities. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him do pretty well in it as well. Gold Coast, Ben King, he was one of our picks this year. He ended up second or third in the Coleman, which was a bit disappointing for my bet, but that's okay. I'd like to see a bit more from him when he's not kicking goals, because he tends to have 8 touches for 4 goals or something similar along those lines. He doesn't touch the ball many times unless he's kicking goals, but he does kick a lot of goals. So there's always a chance that he'll kick another bag of 60 or 70 plus in 2026. So watch out for him. Charlie Curnow at the Swans, arguably exactly what the Swannies need. If he can stay fit and healthy, there is no reason he can't get back to his Coleman winning best. With those midfielders getting the ball through to him, it's been probably Sydney's big weakness since Buddy Franklin left, is having that target forward. Joel Lamarty occasionally does it. You look at the game against Adelaide in 2024, when he kicked 9. It's what they need, just someone that can consistently be a target up forward. And if Charlie Curnow's fit and healthy, he could well and truly be that player. There's a lot of young players coming through that are also in this conversation. Logan Morris from Brisbane's probably the standout. They'll also win lots of games, so there's that possibility. Mackay from Carlton, Harry, always kicks goals if he stays fit and healthy. Carlton probably not going to win enough games, but you just never know. Other key forwards that are worth mentioning, Fremantle. Have a couple tall timbers down there that can kick goals, so there's a chance there. Obviously, 2 years ago, 2024's Coleman medalist, Jesse Hogan, if he can have a full fit and healthy season, he's probably arguably in the top 2 contested marks, one-on-one players in the competition. It's probably him and Sam Darcy as forwards. So you can never write him off as well. Thinking of the rest of the competition, I don't know if there's too many others that I'd consider a genuine chance. If West Coast could win some more games, Jake Waterman would be a chance because he can kick a bag. I don't think they'll win enough. Same can probably be said for Nick Larkey, the new captain of the Kangaroos. And yeah, that's about it. I think I can't think of any others that I genuinely believe are a chance to win the Coleman. Moving to the next one, we got our rising star picks, and this is tough. I was trying to think. I should have probably put more time into this. I was trying to think of players that are still qualifying for rising star that it's not necessarily their first year, but I couldn't think of enough in the time frame that I gave myself. We're going with a standard number one pick in the draft, Willem Dersma. He's going to get plenty of opportunities in season 2026. He will probably play almost every game if he can stay fit and healthy. He'll probably spend some time on the wing, but also half back and half forward and maybe inside mid at times as well. He's a bit of a player that can get around the ground and play multiple positions. So we're going with him as our number one pick for the rising star. Number two, we're going with Jagger Smith. Obviously, last year's highly touted pick by Carlton, arguably the best ball winner from that draft class that included Levi Ashcroft. Obviously, did his knee pre-season, hasn't played a game of AFL. He has been running already in the pre-season. He's looking like he's ready to go. So if he can be fit and healthy and get back to his ball-winning days, there's no reason why he can't average over 20 touches a game. He's probably going to get plenty of inside midfield time as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him do really well in the Rising Star in 2026. Daniel Annabelle from Brisbane. How does he fit into this Brisbane lineup is the first question. But if he does, watch out. They said that he's ready for AFL already, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them give him plenty of opportunities in 2026. It will be hard for him to make a mark in such a good team, but if he does get game time, he will be very, very good, I think. Dylan Patterson for Gold Coast. I think we'll see him coming off the half-back line. I think he'll rack up quite a lot of touches. The issue is, obviously, they have players in that role already. John Noble and Daniel Rioli played that role really well last season. But he's someone that can break the lines. He can run really well. Potentially, he does play a little bit more forward than that. Maybe he does go onto a wing. We'll wait and see. But he is someone that can break the lines really well. So we'll keep an eye on him. And Dyson Sharp is my fifth pick from the Bombers. I think one of the really good pickups of the draft. He's going to be interesting to see how much game time he gets. But in this Bombers lineup, I would imagine he will get plenty of opportunities. So keep an eye on him as well in 2026. Plenty of other opportunities for other players. It's really early. It's really hard to pick a rising star winner at this time of the year. But we'll definitely revisit it before the season kicks off. We'll go through probably every player that could win it. But at this early stage, that's how we're seeing it. Yeah. On to the next one. It's our ladder prediction. And, I mean, you can already see it all. Top 10 in season 2026 play finals. So it adds a little bit to the thing. Basically, to do this, I've simulated every single game for the season to give us our win-loss record by basing it on our regular system of end of last season's ratings, but adjusted to what maybe we can see them being in 2026. So this takes into account, obviously, strength of draw and all that stuff as well. And this is how it's shot out. As we go through it, I'll talk about whether I actually can see them being any different. Obviously, Brisbane's your obvious pick for number one for the season. They've won the last two premierships. They played in the last three grand finals. Their team's getting stronger and stronger each year. They're not losing that much, obviously. They did lose Oscar McInerney, but they've added in Sam Draper. They've added in Oscar Allen. They also lost Starkovic and Kalamarchi, so they did lose three of their premiership players, but they have added in plenty of senior talent with those Draper, Oscar Allen, but they've also added in plenty of young talent as well, Daniel Annabelle. So I think they'll be really good again. Their midfield's still very strong. Logan Morris is only getting better. watch out for this Brisbane Lions line-up again. Geelong, we got on 16-7 for the season. They finished top 4 the last 2 years, lost in the prelim in 2024 to Brisbane, lost in the grand final in 2025 to Brisbane. They haven't got worse from last year, so if they can develop even more, they have a really good list still. So I think they will be in that conversation. Hawthorn sitting third with 15-8. As you can see, there's a lot of teams on 15 to 14 or 15 wins. There's 7 teams there. So I have it really tight at the moment, but I think Hawthorn are the most likely to improve in this little batch, and I can't see them missing top 4 in 2025, to be completely honest with you. They just have, obviously injuries could set that back, but they just have a really good list across the board that all know their role, they all play their role, and they all do it really, really well. So I can see them finishing top 4. Fremantle, just a couple early season slip-ups last year is what cost them a top 4 spot in the end. They did still have a home elimination final, which they lost to Gold Coast by a point. But they're just a team that, with a full season of fitness through that midfield and forward lineup, they can be really dangerous because their backline is really strong as well. So I think they're just a well-rounded team and one that we will see do really well in 2026. GWS, they're always there or thereabouts. They have been for the last 3 or 4 years now. And I would expect they will be again. They haven't got worse. They've added Clary Oliver to their midfield, added more depth there. Their forward line, if they can stay fit and healthy, is really, really good. And if their back line stays fit and healthy, they potentially have the best back line in the competition. So watch for them to have a big season. The Bulldogs were the enigma of 2025, probably 2024 as well. Arguably the best offensive-minded team in the competition, high-scoring team, absolute dominate low-ranked teams. They just don't have the ability to do it against top teams. Last year, there was only one team that played finals that they beat in the season, and that was GWS, who they beat twice. So that's the big thing for the Bulldogs. Can they take that next step? Can they start beating teams that are above them on the ladder? Can they beat teams that are in contention of finals? We'll have to wait and see. But their forward line, their midfield is as good as any team in the competition. It's that back line that is a little bit of a concern, but I can't see them missing top 10, if I'm being honest. Sydney are a really, really big chance to bounce back. Yes, they had a bad season last year. The year before, they lost a grand final. I can see them bouncing back in 2026. I fully expect to see them playing some really good football. Their midfield, if it can stay fit and healthy, Heaney, Warner, Goulden is as good as any midfield just about in the competition. Charlie Curnow as that tall forward target in the forward line just adds a lot to this Sydney team. Yeah, they lost a couple players in the off-season, but I just see them on paper as being a competitive team again in 2026. Collingwood obviously made it to a prelim final last year. A lot of their players, every player gets older every year, but they're still a very old team. Probably, well, they are the oldest list in the competition at the moment. They did lose a little bit of that age. Will Hoskin Elliott retired. Mason Cox, Tom Mitchell no longer there. So the team does get a little bit younger than it was last year. But you'd think this is maybe their last run at it with the senior core of like Pendlebury, Sidebottom, Jeremy Howe. So maybe their last roll of the dice, depending on what happens in the off-season next year. Gold Coast, they're a potential to be a top 4 team. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Their best football is insanely good. Their list is incredibly strong and only got stronger in the off-season. They drafted incredibly well through their academy program. So they're a team that could be anywhere from top of the ladder at the end of the season all the way down. They'll be playing finals. There's no doubt about it. They will be a top 10 team this season. Same can be maybe not said for Adelaide. I'm not as convinced. I know they were the minor premiers 2025. They had a really disappointing end with a straight sets losses in the final series, back-to-back home ground losses to Victorian teams. Their best is really good. I think they're just missing a couple key components, mainly in that midfield, maybe to support Jordan Dawson. If they stay fit and healthy, they will be a team that plays finals. There's no doubt about it. I think there's only, in my mind, 11 teams that will play finals this season, that could play finals in 2026. I could be completely wrong, but I think they're genuinely probably the least likely in that top 10 to play finals. I think is probably Collingwood, if I'm being completely honest with you. And the most likely that misses it on my list here is St Kilda. To make it, sorry. I could genuinely see St Kilda getting up towards 15 wins at a possibility. Their big issue the last two seasons has been their first half of the seasons, where they've been way behind the 8 ball, and then they finish quite strong in the back half. If they can get a better start to the year in 2026, then who knows? The sky's the limit for them. They do have a really strong list. If they don't play finals in 2026, you have to think that's the end of Ross the Boss, because with this list, they just have to be playing finals, I think. Obviously, we don't have them there, but that's mainly because the system doesn't quite allow it. But they genuinely are a team that should be moving up. Port Adelaide, they've still got a really strong list without getting any better at all, I don't think, in the off-season. It's going to be an interesting couple years for them. What happens with some of their star players, whether they stay or go. I think their best is still arguably as good as most teams in the competition, certainly capable of being a 5th to 10th spot finisher. In 2025, they really struggled with that consistency. There's too many games where they just got absolutely blown out of the water. You look at round 1 against Collingwood, you look at the couple weeks later, they got blown out again. They lost, I think, to St Kilda in Adelaide. They lost to just too many games and too many bad performances throughout 2025. And it's hard to see them wiping that out completely. The real bad one was probably that loss to Adelaide late season in the showdown, when they got absolutely smacked by like 90-something points. So I can still see them winning 10 to 12 games probably, but probably missing finals. Carlton haven't added enough in this off-season. Obviously lost Curnow. They feel like they're rebuilding. They've got some really high draft picks over the next couple of seasons. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them over the next couple of years, maybe floating around the 11 to 15 mark before really trying to bounce back and push towards that top end of the ladder again. Could be wrong, but that's how I see it. Number 14, we got Melbourne. I can't see what Melbourne are doing at the moment with this list. They're one of the oldest lists in the competition. They've missed finals quite considerably the last 2 seasons. And they're only really getting older. Yes, they did lose Petrarca, Oliver, which are massive losses. But they've added some old players into their lineup as well. So I just don't know what they're doing at the moment. It's hard to see them being good enough in 2026 to play finals. And it's also confusing as to what they are doing with this list. But I guess we'll see. Maybe they are a team that still has enough talent on their list to do well in 2026. We shall see. North Melbourne, they need to win more than 6 games. There's no two ways about it. They absolutely need to win more than 6 games in 2026. It's 4 or 5 years now that they've won less than 5 games per season. It's a big jump to go from that to finals. Teams do it all the time. Adelaide did it last year, but we just haven't seen enough from them. But they need to win more than 6 games. We said at the start of 2025 that their pass score needed to be 7 wins. They didn't get there. It, at a minimum, has to be 7. But I would say that they're if they win less than 9 games in 2026, there has to be some big questions asked about the whole football department, the coaching staff, the players, because you can't be down that low for that long with so many draft picks, so many good players on their list now. but they're just haven't improved. But maybe they are the team that do it this year. They should be winning at least 10 games in 2026, in my opinion. Essendon, it's hard to see this being a good season for the Bombers. They started 2025 really positively, got some really good wins early season, but their back end was really tough. They had a lot of injuries, obviously. They used a lot of players. They debuted like 13 or 15 players or whatever it was in the end. They're certainly a team that it's hard to see them jumping back up without at least another year of the rebuild. I would expect that some of these young players will really start to progress this season. But I think they need another year or two to really be pushing towards a genuine finals contender. Same can be kind of said for Richmond. They're about the same sort of level of a rebuild, I think. They've got some really, really good young players now on this list, but they just need to give them time is basically where we're at. Time and experience, and it's hard to see them winning more than probably 6 games in 2026. And the Eagles, they definitely win more than 1 game in 2026. Their list is getting slightly stronger. They've had a lot of retirements over the last couple of years, McGovern being the big one, but they just have a lot of good young players coming up. It's not going to be a quick bounce though. Obviously, Elliot Yeo coming back, he didn't play a game last season, will really strengthen this midfield up. Waterman missed a lot of the season. If he can get a full season, they are a team that I don't think necessarily wins the Wooden Spoon. They're probably the favourites for it at the moment, but I could see any one of Essendon, Richmond, West Coast winning the Wooden Spoon quite comfortably, if we're being completely honest. West Coast don't need to win as many games as probably most of the rest of the competition, but they need to be competitive. They need to probably win 3 or 4 at least and be competitive in another 5 to 6 games where they're only losing by a kick or a couple kicks, where they're right in it all the way. It's been a really tough couple years for them. Another rough season this year, probably in 2026. But after that, there won't be any more excuses come 2027, I don't think, for West Coast. Final thing we're looking at is our Premier and runners-up. Premiers, we're going Brisbane Lions. We can't go against them at the moment. Come pre-season, we'll do a proper prediction for 2026. Maybe things will change by then. We nearly got it dead right last year. We said Geelong to win the premiership and Brisbane to be runners-up, and we got it the wrong way around. So that makes me worried because I do not want to see a Hawthorn premiership in 2026, but you never know. So we've gone Brisbane Premiers, Hawthorn runners-up. West Coast, as we said, was our Wooden Spoon team. And yeah, that's pretty much everything we've got for you. We'll see what happens. It's way too early to be doing actual predictions, in all honesty, but just some thoughts on 2026 coming up. Thanks for tuning in. Again, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, let me know your big predictions for 2026. As I said at the top of the episode, there's one more episode coming out before the end of the year. That will be out next week, which is our wrap-up of season 2025 season wrapped. We'll be looking at both the AFL and AFLW seasons in that episode, so make sure you come back, check that out next week. And then 2026 is going to be huge for the channel, so there'll be plenty of content coming out from about the 10th of January, somewhere around there. We will be kicking off our pre-season content. We'll be doing best 23s. We'll be doing list analysis of every team. We'll be doing season predictions. We'll be doing everything you need to know about AFL season 2026. So make sure you're subscribed, you're following, you're liking the videos. Go back, check out the rest of the content. We did a draft analysis video a couple weeks ago that did really, really well on the channel. So go check that out. I hope you enjoyed this episode and the season so far. We'll be back next week. I'm Jay. This is the All Aussie Rules Footy Podcast, and I'll catch us on the next one.